Knowledge is information that we gather from outside sources through our sense organs and retain in our brain that act as a living hard disk in a computer. The brain contains knowledge, the information that we gather from outside. And that information creates mental images in the screen of our brain. The information that appears as mental images looks real, though it is actually not real. None of our mental images is actually real. Mental images are illusions. Knowledge consists of such illusions. They are called illusions because they look real, though they are not real. They look true, though they are actually not true. They are made up of mental images, like images in a mirror that we see ourselves when you go in front of a mirror, and we see ourselves inside the mirror, and what we see inside look real, though whatever that we see in the mirror is not actually real. They are only reflections. In this way, our knowledge looks real, but actually not real, not true. Therefore, we can say our knowledge is ignorance. For example, one may have the knowledge of the entire Tripitaka, the Buddhist canon, all the discourses preached by the Buddha recorded in the Buddhist canon. One may know the meaning of each and every word in those sermons of the Buddha. But that knowledge of the sermons, the meanings of the words in the sermons, does not say we really know what the Buddha taught. Instead, we have in our mind certain concepts, certain mental images, certain opinions, certain beliefs, but they are not real. In the Karnamya Sutra at the end, Buddha says, if one were to attain enlightenment and know the truth in and around us. As a prerequisite, the mind is free of all opinions, all beliefs, which are mental images. Then the mind is open. It is only an open mind without prejudices. In that sermon that I referred to in the Karami Sutra, Ditti means our prejudices, prejudgment. Even with regard to enlightenment or nirvana, we have prejudices. Though we are not enlightened, though we have not realized the actual nirvana, we have formed mental images about the teachings of the Buddha, about nirvana, about enlightenment. And these images, mental images, or ideas, opinions or beliefs, they are based on imported information that we have gathered from books, from lectures, from radio programs, from TV programs, and from our experiments. Whatever information that we gather by different means does not mean that we know the reality of the truth of what the Buddha has taught. That truth, that reality is within ourselves. We ourselves have to discover it. Buddha said, Akataro Tathagato. I only show you the way. To make ichchang atapam. You have to accept. Even in his last sermon called Mahaparinibbana Sutta, just before passing away, Buddha advised his disciples not to depend on anybody else, but depend on oneself. That is what the Buddha preached even before his passing away. Attahi attano nato. You are the help unto yourself. Therefore, the knowledge that we gather from outside sources cannot be said to be the real truth. Though we consider our knowledge as light on so many things, knowledge is really not light, but it is really ignorance. The darkness of ignorance. However much knowledge we gather, unless we realize the ultimate truth, we are in the dark. Even Buddha, faced with the reality, the truth within himself, only at his enlightenment, that he described in his first sermon called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra as the dawn of light. In his own words, Aloko Udapadi. The light dawned at my enlightenment. Metaphorically, the light says, knowing the truth, seeing the truth. It is beyond knowledge. Wisdom is beyond knowledge. Wisdom begins where the knowledge ends. That is why the Buddha said in the Karaniya Sutra, Dittincha anupagama sileva dasanena sampanno. One has to see oneself beyond prejudices. A sight, there is the insight, free from prejudices, can only reveal the reality or the truth within ourselves. And that in reality, there are no mental images. Therefore, one has to go beyond mental images called knowledge. Knowledge means a heap of mental images that covers the ultimate truth behind it. Therefore, knowledge is darkness, is ignorance, not light. The real light within is the light of wisdom that reveals the real nature within us. It is that reality that is named as Nirvana in Sanskrit and Nibbana in Pali, the ultimate truth. Before realizing it, we may have a lot of knowledge about enlightenment and Nirvana that we have gathered from books, lectures, radio programs, TV programs, etc. But that information is only knowledge. And that knowledge is ignorance because that knowledge cannot reveal the real truth unless we realize the real truth within ourselves through insight. And the technique of realizing that truth is called Vidarsana Bhana, literally meaning insight meditation. Vidarsana is insight. Bhana is a technique. Though it is translated as meditation, it is not meditation. Meditation is thinking, deliberation. Thinking, deliberating with the knowledge that we are already saved in our brains. That knowledge, as I mentioned earlier, is darkness, is ignorance. The real light is within us. Light means truth. As I mentioned earlier, that light dawned in the Buddha only at his enlightenment, and in his first sermon he referred to it as Aloko Uddapadi. That means there dawned the light of wisdom, the light that is the insight revealing the actual truth, the real truth that is within ourselves.